What if you could see your everyday world the way an artist does? That's what inspired this project, seeing ordinary surroundings with fresh eyes and using AI as a creative partner to make the process more joyful. Hi, I'm Jane Ramsey. In this episode of the Inspired Creator AI Edition, I'm exploring one of my favorite artistic lessons, learning to see your surroundings with artist's eyes. I was inspired by David Hockney's iPad drawings from Normandy, the way he painted everyday views with such color and joy. I decided to try something similar right here in my own neighborhood, but with a little help from AI. I don't know if you had a chance to see David Hockney's exhibit of his iPad drawings. If you didn't, please Google it. He captured the beauty of simple scenes, a hedge, a tree, a road he walked every morning. His work reminds us that creativity doesn't depend on exotic subjects. It depends on how we see the world around us. Let me show you some pieces I've created from my own neighborhood over the past year, and I feel so grateful to live in such a beautiful place. I live in Southern California in the winter, here in Indian Wells. In the summer, we're in San Diego County, and I'll show you some images from there too. I've never been very interested in creating realistic art. I mostly make abstract pieces and collages, but after I saw the Hockney exhibit, I was so inspired, not to create anything to sell, but just for my own joy and appreciation. So these are all works in process. I come back and spend 15 or 20 minutes on them from time to time, just playing and refining. If you've taken any of my Soul Artist Experience courses, you know I often talk about seeing with artists' eyes, having a greater awareness of the world around you, noticing your own filters, and seeing through the eyes of your soul. When you do this, you begin to deeply notice things. It not only makes you more creative, it enriches your life. Paying full attention to a moment is to embody love. When you give something your full attention, you're saying, you are worthy of my recognition and awareness. As a creative person, you might pay attention to the shadows as much as the light. You start noticing the particularity of things, their uniqueness, and that invites you to dive into the details and nurture your curiosity. So I love creating art from my neighborhood and from our time at the beach in the summer. But honestly, I don't love sketching. It's the part I like the least. I can't wait to get to the fun part, the painting. That's what this video is about, learning to see differently and using AI as a digital assistant to help you with the parts you don't love. The images I just showed you were created by hand on my iPad. I'm going to show you something I've just learned that I know I'll use a lot in the future. When I started this painting of my house, I used AI to see if I could skip some of the least enjoyable steps, the technical sketching. So I uploaded this photo and I used a simple prompt that asked for a clean, expressive line drawing on a transparent background. The AI captures the basic structure, leaving me free to jump straight into the part I love, painting and interpretation. Here's the prompt: draw only the building from the uploaded photo in the expressive style of a digital tablet sketch. Use loose, fluid black line work with visible hand-drawn variation, no shading or color, transparent background PNG. And then as I got into it and started painting, I thought, boy, I would really like to have the roof separate and the front gate separate. So I ended up asking for those layers as well, as you can see here. Here's the one for the front gate. Here's the one for the roof. So in seconds, I get a crisp line sketch ready for Procreate. No rulers, no perspective guides, no setup stress. And then I get to the part I love, painting on the iPad. The fun really begins here. I bring the sketch into Procreate and I begin to do the part I love, painting and adding texture. I keep my colors bold and simplified, letting the forms do the talking, kind of like Hockney must have done in his iPad drawings. Notice how AI's clean outline gives me freedom to play with texture, pattern, and rhythm without worrying about accuracy. It's kind of like having a studio assistant handle the prep work while you focus on your expression. So this is the part I love, responding to shapes, colors, and the movement of light. The AI gives me a great starting point, but what makes it mine are these choices, the joy of the brush and the intuitive color decisions. And of course, I take artistic license, making mountains prominent, adding in flowers even if they're not in bloom right now. Another great thing about creating art on my iPad is if I have ever drawn something before, like these plants in my neighborhood, I can just import what I need into my current project instead of redrawing everything every time, and that is a huge time saver. Here's another example. For landscapes, when I'm creating on my iPad, I separate elements into layers. Mountains on one layer, sky on a layer, trees and grass on a layer, and I now realize I can use my AI digital assistant to help me. So I tried it with this example using prompts to isolate each part. And then I reassembled them in Procreate, painting freely across the layers to create depth and atmosphere. It's so much faster, more intuitive, and keeps me in that flow state where ideas just happen. I don't get bogged down in the part I don't enjoy. So for me, the biggest gift of this process is that it lets me focus on creativity, not perfection. AI takes care of the setup and I get to play. When you learn to see your own world this way, you realize inspiration is everywhere. In your street, in your garden, the sky outside your window. The goal isn't to copy anyone else's style, not even Hockney's, but to explore how we can all see more deeply and make art from what surrounds us and gives us joy. AI doesn't replace the artist, it frees the artist. If this inspired you, check out the rest of the Inspired Creator AI Edition playlist. I'll show you more ways to use smart tools to spark soulful creativity. I'm Jane Ramsey, reminding you that the best art begins with how you see. The Inspired Creator AI Edition, empowering creators with smart tools and soulful guidance.